Welcome everyone to the first of Trillium's webinars for 2024. I'm Simon Bradshaw, Trillium's Director of Engineering and Technology. Along with my colleagues Jiska Van Jura and John Smith will be your hosts for the next hour. Please note this is an interactive webinar. It always works better if you ask questions. You can enter your questions in the webinar chat box at any time during the webinar. After we've completed the main presentation, there will be plenty of time for Q&A. We will try and cover any and all questions that you raise. So, please feel free to make use of the facility. So with that, we're going to start with the webinar entitled Valve Solutions for Your Specifications. If we could go to the next slide, please. Okay, so this essentially is a quick overview of Trillium Technologies for those of you who are not aware of who we are or what we do. You can see here our brand portfolio. We have many product brands that are synonymous with the pump and valve industries. On the pump brand side, we have Begemann, Flowway, Gabioneta, Rotajet, Wemco, WSP, and most recently, Thermomechanica Pompe. I'll mention later. On the valve products, we have Atwood and Morrow, isolation and check valves, auto torque actuators, Batley, Blakeborough control and choke valves, Hopkinson's parallel slide gate valves and globe valves, Saracen and Sabine safety valves, and Tricentric. And of course, not leaving out Redpoint, who will be the focus of this presentation today. On the right-hand side of the slide, you can visualize Trillium's global presence. We have a supply chain that spans the globe. We have key manufacturing centers in a number of countries, including Canada, China, France, India, Italy, South Korea, the UK, USA, and the Netherlands. Globally, we have 21 facilities, plus a global network of third-party sales and authorized service centers. Essentially, this means that we are where you are, and we can provide the necessary technical and commercial support of our products for the entire lifespan that you're going to use them. We'll go to the next slide, please. So this, like a lot of companies, Trillium has been around for many years. 190 years according to this timeline. That said, we're continuing to add new products and services with the focus of making our customers' processes more efficient and productive. In 2020, just to call out on this timeline, we added Redpoint valves to the Trillium family. And in 2022, we welcomed our latest addition, which was the Thermomechanica Pompe in La Spezia, Italy. With that, we can go to the next slide, please. And this is just a call out for something that many people aren't aware of that we have. You may recall, it seems like a long time ago, probably only a year ago now, though, that the metaverse first was hyped by the media and subsequently claimed it had demised. In truth, that obscures the fact that the metaverse is alive and well for key specialist applications, in particular training and simulation. With that thought in mind, Trillium Technologies has the first of its kind of a virtual trade show platform that gives you everything you wanted from a trade show, but 24/7. Our interactive fully 3D trade show, you can view our detailed 3D models of all our products. You can obtain application and technical information, as well as the normal brochures. You can also connect directly with our global sales team to discuss your specific problems that you need solved. And all of this, I'm happy to say, without having to endure the discomfort of sitting in a confined metal tube for many hours, flying to your trade show, or having to purchase overpriced, mediocre coffee from the hotel restaurant. You can sign up at the link that's on the slide here. That is virtual.trilliumflow.com. With that, I'm going to pass you over to Jiska, who is going to pick up on the next part of the presentation.
Yes, thank you, Simon, for your introduction. My name is Jiska van Dura. I'm a business development manager for Redpoint Valves. I've been with Redpoint for over 12 years already. So like Simon said, Redpoint has been a part of Trillium since 2020. Redpoint itself has been around longer, already over 35 years, so since 1987. We're a company located in the Netherlands, in Zoetermeer, which is in the western part of the country, close to Rotterdam, but also close to Schiphol Airport. We have about 50 full-time employees within Redpoint at any given time, and all our activities are based under one roof. So not only production, assembly, testing, but also engineering, sales, procurement, quality. All these departments are together. And especially with the difficult projects that we handle, it's always good to have short lines of communication. Redpoint has always been a company for forged products, non-commodity products. But our newest addition is that we also can supply cast valves, and that is also the reason why we have started this webinar. The markets that Redpoint is traditionally strong in, and what our focus is on is on the upstream side, the oil and gas, so the offshore, but also onshore, chemical plants where they use a lot of exotic materials, petrochemical refineries with a lot of difficult processes that they have, but also cryogenic valves, for example, for liquefied natural gas. We have specific applications such as fertilizer valves. Fertilizer is quite a big industry and very specific demands with regards to valves. PTA, which is the raw material for PET bottles. Redpoint also can supply offshore API 6A valves for well and Christmas tree applications. Redpoint holds the monogram of API 6A as well. It's a pretty tough audit. And other special services such as oxygen. Something that is coming up more and more is, for example, hydrogen, which is also a very difficult medium to work with. So Redpoint is in a niche market because we focus on the non-commodity products, not the standard products. And if we look at what is a fit for Redpoint, we always say that there are 3 criteria that make a requirement suitable for Redpoint. So first we mention fast track delivery. Of course, with forgings we can really do fast track delivery. We always aim to do that within 6 to 10 weeks. We have always been a company which helps plant owners to reduce downtime, because of course downtime can have costly consequences for plant owners. And now with castings, the main advantage for us is that next to that really fast track option with forgings, especially with some of the larger valves, but with additional requirements, then now we can also offer them in castings, which gives us a bit more competitive advantage and also an option for the client in that perspective. Exotic materials, we've been strong in exotic materials and know how to work with almost every material out there. We can supply them not only in forge, but also in cast. And non-commodity, so that's the third criteria. We use forgings and castings, but we really focus on non-commodity products. So let's say there are additional requirements on the valves itself, but it could also be on the material. That it's not an off-the-shelf product. So basically, when you cannot find a product off the shelf and you need it in a quick delivery time, and you are going for the quality, then please think of Redpoint. So with having said that, I want to give it over to my colleague John, who's going to tell a little bit more about the product range that we have within Redpoint.
Thanks, Jessica. Yes, my name is John Smith. I've been with Trillium for about 2 years now, covering sales for Redpoint and other products in the United States. Been in the valve industry for a little over a decade. So as we stated before, Redpoint can supply a broad range of valves for all your applications. Valve sizes ranging from 1/4 inch to 20 inch, class 150 to 4500, and temperatures of -321 to 1500 degrees. That's -196 to 816 for all of our metric users out there. Our castings can expand our range of supply with this. Next slide, please. Ball valves are commonly used in many applications. Besides the floating ball valves, we also manufacture trunnion-mounted ball valves with both soft and metal seats for really critical applications. Within a trunnion-mounted valve, we can offer a single ball, double block and bleed, and double isolation bleed, not to mention double ball, double block and bleed. Depending on customer's preference, we can supply the valves as side entry or end entry configurations. However, considering easy maintenance or valves with welded ends for top entry valves, here we compile a spec requirement and manufacture accordingly. As applies for every ball valve, we can manufacture them with many different end connections and a diversity of operation methods. Besides the two-way, we also offer three-way and four-way options. Next valve. As far as gate valves are concerned, we're available in standard wedge configurations like solid and flexible wedge. However, certain applications we also supply through conduit gate valves with smooth flow or minimal turbulence is a must. In general, the gate valves we offer are supplied with bolted bonnets. However, specific applications or high pressure can be a preference with welded bonnet or pressure seal bonnet valves. We can even take it a step further if you're worried about fugitive emissions. Redpoint can offer bellow sealed valves. This will ensure a zero emission valve. Especially in large sizes, castings are a great option for the gate valve. Next slide. Now, globe valves are widely used in plants, and Redpoint's strength generally lies in the on-off and equal percentage valves. Globe valves are available in many different configurations like straight type, wide type, and angle type. Now, similar to the gate valves, the globes are available in different type of bonnet constrictions. We also keep bellows on stock for the globe valves to avoid lengthy turnarounds. Next slide, please. Now, check valves are a pretty big part of our scope. We offer a wide variety of check valves, including ball checks, tilting disc checks, dual plate checks, and nozzle checks for high pressure applications. Besides regular seated metal seated valves, we can also offer many check valves with soft seated options. The castings are pretty interesting when you come to the piston and swing check and tilting discs. Those are generally the larger valve types you see in the check valve application. Next slide, please. Now we get to sort of the crux of why we're here, the reason for the season, and that's our casting portion of our product line. Historically, Redpoint valves were all machined from forgings, even the larger sizes. This allowed for faster machining time, but could be limiting and cost prohibitive. Now we have the casting availability, max around 18 to 20 inches, depending on the pressure class. In general, 14 inches is where Redpoint would like to evaluate suitability for manufacture. Now, Redpoint won't always be the lowest cost supplier, but we will be the best value on difficult to supply, rapid supply, or unique valve requirements. Next slide, please. With our casting designs, we're standardizing design, meaning we can use castings that can be used more often, more volume in larger series, resulting in shorter lead times and lower pricing. Like we mentioned before, Redpoint generally focus on the quality, which eventually results in lower costs during valve life. Next slide, please. We have many different sourcing options as the sourcing is flexible but quality. EU castings for restricted sourcing requirements and even Buy American Act approved countries where that's required. Trillium approved suppliers must meet strict QA requirements for all of our facilities, no matter where they're sourced from, be it EU countries, India, or China. Next slide, please. Now we've been talking about what we can supply, so let's show you this time. Here are a few valves we've actually supplied to customers. It's a 4 to 6 inch class 600 gate valve in Inconel 625 for a chemical application. Next slide. Here we have a 6 inch swing check in class 150, material 321 for a mining application. Next slide, please. And last, we have a swing check valve, 8 inch class 150 material Hastelloy B2 for another chemical application. Now, all of these valves can generally be supplied in 16 weeks or less. And with that, I'll hand it back over to Jiska.
Yeah, thanks, John, for explaining a little bit about the product range and our casting capabilities. So I just want to do a quick reminder that you can drop any questions in the Q&A section or in the chat, so we can answer them at the end of the session. So earlier I mentioned 3 criteria which make a requirement suitable for Redpoint, which were fast track delivery, exotic materials, and non-commodity products. So I just wanted to discuss a little bit further about these with some examples, and also mentioning that castings could have a longer lead time, of course, because of the nature that you have to go through a foundry. But still we save time on machining, and we'll definitely try to do the things that we can influence in the process as fast as possible, so that it will still be a fast track delivery. What you can see here, some supplies that we did. In this case, it was forged with some valves in a high pressure application in special stainless steel. Some gate valves, 1 inch 2,500 pounds, a series of 21 pieces. We did that in 10 weeks. And on the right, you see a metal seated ball valve. And that was done in 10 weeks for one piece. It was quite a big size, 8 inch, 600 pounds. And this was a really special valve, which could have been a casting if we had the availability back then. It was a scope of up to 12 inch gate and globe valves. Not only did these valves all have electric actuators from rotor on the top, but they all needed to be bellows sealed. This valve on the picture was over 3 meters high. And yeah, it's very special to have a 12 inch, 1,500 pound valve bellows sealed. So these kind of things we sometimes come across. And yeah, for us, that's always a nice challenge to work on. And eventually we delivered the whole project in 16 weeks. So I've also mentioned something about the exotic materials. Yeah, we in the factory work with almost every material out there. So the Hastelloys, the C series, C276, C22, the Hastelloy B, B2, B3 series, which are even more difficult to machine. Incolloy, that's typically the 800 series, Alloy 800 or Alloy 825. Inconels, usually a little bit more difficult to machine than Incolloys in Alloy 600 or Alloy 625. So that's the 600 series. And Monel 400, yeah, for specific applications that is being used. With regards to stainless steel, so yeah, we work with 321 stainless steel, 347 stainless steel, but also for high carbon addition for higher temperatures, duplexes, super duplexes, 254 SMO, 904L, those kind of stainless steels or duplex steels. But also normal carbon steel, normal stainless steel is a big part of our scope because there's a lot of times additional requirements or on the material or on the valve, which makes it a non-commodity product. Titanium is also a big part of what we do. Yeah, specific applications where they use titanium grade 2, grade 3, grade 5, grade 7. So there are many different grades of titanium out there for yeah, every specific application. And yeah, even zirconium, which is a very difficult material to machine because yeah, it can basically self-ignite. So it's even dangerous to work with it. But yeah, that kind of materials are being used mainly in mining applications, and yeah, we can also machine those. And non-commodity, so sometimes yeah, special applications or a valve needs to be really engineered and made fit for purpose. So yeah, we always try then in those cases to adapt the valve to the client specification instead of that the client needs to adapt their specification to a valve that is available. Yeah, that helps, of course, with a durable solution, no downtime and long life for the valve. And sometimes specific testing, high temperature testing, gas testing, cryogenic testing. So those kind of things we can also do. Or on the material, corrosion testing, for example, or impact testing. And sometimes to complete a package that is out there, which is yeah, which is incomplete and could delay a project. So I just wanted to go a little bit deeper in what are special applications, because we deal with our valves. John showed some valves in high alloys in castings that we did. Alloy 31, Hastelloy B. So specific processes, and yeah, we see valves for high temperatures. We even see valves up to 816 degrees Celsius, which is the maximum you can still validate with SMB 16.34. High pressures up to 4,500 pounds and 10,000 psi with API 6A, which give of course a lot of challenges with valve designs. Yeah, in the oil and gas industry, we face higher pressures, also exotic materials, and sometimes small spaces where you need to fit your valve. but also specific applications such as PTA. So that's short for purified terephthalic acid, and that's the raw material for PET bottles, but it's also used in clothing industry. The raw material that they use in that part of the process is titanium, and it's very corrosive. The medium can solidify in all the valve cavities. Actually we modify for end users current valves that they have in their system with a seat design from Redpoint itself, and we supply our valves with our developed seat design for this application. Fertilizer, it's a very important industry for Redpoint, especially if you look at urea and nitric acid and ammonia applications. Especially in the urea process, the medium is very corrosive. It's highly crystallizing. So you want to have a design with minimal dead spaces, angle type valves. You want to have your obturator completely sterilized fully because of the corrosiveness and the crystallization. You use special grade materials specifically for urea or nitric acid, such as 316 LUG, 310 MOLN, or known as 25222. For nitric acid, 310L, LO1815, but also stainless steels like 904L, for Rhodium 255 6MO. So we are also familiar with the licensure specifications if you look at fertilizer industries such as Casale, Saipem, Dojo, Stami Carbon. Cryogenic valves, in many cases, they are a commodity product, especially in the lower pressure classes and the standard designs. But in the higher pressure classes or special materials, or for example, trillium-mounted ball valves, if you go cryogenic for those ones, it will become more difficult, and then we can assist in those cases. Acid gas in the oil and gas, upstream, midstream. We see these kind of applications more and more. It's a very difficult medium to work with because of the very high concentration of hydrogen sulfide, H2S, in such a medium. So you need to pay attention to your raw materials, but especially also your soft parts. So for example, use FFKM or Colres, or use lip seals. So all this knowledge is available in Redpoint. We have approvals from our customers for acid gas, so we can definitely help for those kind of applications as well. Sulfuric acid, alloy 20, C276, those kind of materials you will see in there. It's usually high concentration, specified up to 98%. Hydrogen is an upcoming market. Like I mentioned before, it's a market that a lot of companies are focusing on, of course. There you have also a lot of commodity products because it's not very corrosive, but it's a dangerous medium to work with because it's so light. It's like 13 times lighter than air. It goes into all the cracks. You need to ensure that you do not have any fugitive emissions or minimize it. It can be very cold in storage, down to minus 255 degrees Celsius even. And because it's so light, it can cause problems if you have not so homogeneous material. If you have any impurities, you can have problems with hydrogen embrittlement, hydrogen blistering, hydrogen attack. All these kind of things can happen to your valves in that service. And other special services that we come across are, for example, where you need to have a cleaning procedure to client specification or to our specification for oxygen, but also chlorine, ethylene oxide, those kind of things. So then we clean the valves, and we also make sure that the valve is made fit for purpose by rounding, deburring, make sure that the right soft parts are selected in the valve as well. And when you make a valve, testing is of course crucial. So for castings, for example, you always need to make sure that you do radiographic testing on all the critical areas or the full part. On forgings, you see more that UT or ultrasonic is accepted. PMI, which you do with the gun you see on the picture on the left top, where you analyze the chemical composition of your material. Surface examination, such as liquid penetrant examination or magnetic particle examination. That is something we do. Extended hydro testing for some customers. Fugitive emission testing. We can do fugitive emission testing in-house, and we also have a wide range of our valves type tested to, for example, ISO 15848-1. High pressure gas testing, something we can do in-house. High temperature testing, low temperature testing, but also testing on the material is important for some customers. For example, duplex specifications are pretty stringent for those things like corrosion testing or impact testing at certain temperatures and in different directions. Fire safe testing is also something we're very familiar with. So yeah, we have tested a lot of valves in the years that we have been making valves because yeah, we do so many specials. And ferroxyl phenanthroline test is something probably a lot of you have not heard of these kind of tests. And we also had to figure that out when we came across it, but just put it in there just to show that we do not walk away for difficult tests. We always try to solve it. And in this case, we also had to find out what the reason was and how you needed to do it. And yeah, to explain, it's to measure the iron contamination on the titanium materials. And sometimes to complete a package. So sometimes there are a lot of commodity products in an MTO, normal carbon steel, soft-seated valves, which are readily available. And there could be some exotic alloys or some special designs in the scope, which makes it difficult to obtain these valves within a short delivery time. And then we always ask to come to us, and we can help you with our forged or cast products. So yeah, I wanted to pass it on to John.
Thanks, Jessica.
And I see, by the way, that somebody has risen their hands. I guess we do the Q&A.
Yeah, we'll do the
after.
question. We'll do the questions at the end. We've got a number of questions coming in, so we'll moderate those as we go.
Okay, thank you. Sorry, John, go ahead.
No problem at all. I like questions. Okay, so we've talked a lot about lead time in the past 30 minutes. With castings, lead time is relative, and as we now anticipate for longer lead items as well. So to give a better overview of where RedPoint's strength generally lies, let's take a look at this table. When we talk about a project, the material takeoff, one and feed studies are mostly focused on bulk items. So the focus lies mainly on price and manufacturers in best cost countries or low cost countries. Having said that, when projects are price driven and low cost valves are accepted, probably not a good fit for RedPoint as it won't be competitive. Also, when the focus lies in commodity valves, so with low pressures and basic materials, there will be a lot of competition that can more readily available supply those valves. RedPoint is more involved when the bulk is ordered. So for example, when we're in the MTO 4 or 5 stage, let's say if a long lead items are ordered, but some valves were missed in the original takeoff, or maybe if valve supply doesn't meet expectations, there is usually a need for an urgent request. As we all know, downtime can be quite expensive. Now, many clients have pretty stringent specifications and not all suppliers can comply with this. So this can also be in combination with a short lead time requirement. Also, if there's a need for exotic material, as Jessica had just spoken about before, our valves can fit specific applications that can be good for RedPoint. Next slide, please. Now, if you're sitting there asking yourself, what can RedPoint really bring to the table? In essence, speed is in our DNA. You can expect quotations in 1 to 2 days with fast lead times. Technical expertise, we have several different valve experts that have experience with end-user specifications and applications, and accessible project management with clear lines of communication. We have people around the globe that are ready to focus on these projects. No matter what time zone or country you're in, you can talk to a person to talk about your application or problem you're having, not just a general inbox or AI chatbot, if that's what you prefer. Next slide, please. I think at this time, we'll toss it over to questions.
Okay, thanks, John. All right, so let's see. We have a number of questions, so I guess let's kind of get started and see how well we get through them. So the first question, actually, I think kind of picks up on a point you made on the last slide regarding our presence around the globe. And the questioner asks, what is our sales focal point for India? I guess the question being, who would they contact or who would be able to support them for quotations into India? It sounds like they're in an LNG facility in Odisha. So who wants to take that one?
Yeah, I can answer that one because besides that Redpoint can be approached directly for inquiries. Trillium itself has a global network of regional sales managers, also for India, which can help you with your requirements. So we have a global coverage in that perspective. We're happy to provide you the right contact person for your area.
Yeah.
So
yeah. It looks like the questioners put their email in the chat or the Q&A box. So maybe we can send that detail to them after the webinar.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, just a reminder, if you haven't done so, I've been reprimanded by our invisible moderator that I said put your questions in the chat box. It should actually be put your questions in the Q&A box. So I'm correcting that error now. I am suitably chastened, and we'll continue with the questions. Thankfully, it looks like a number of people have overlooked my error and have been able to put them in the right box. So the next question comes from a question that says that they understand that Redpoint is on the ExxonMobil AML. They're asking if we could comment on Shell, Chevron, and Total equivalents, their AMLs. What is our status with them?
Yeah, I can also say something about that. So that's correct. Redpoint is on the Exxon AML. Redpoint is also approved by Shell. For Total, we are not under AML, but we do have quite some references with them already. So probably we could be accepted by them. And Chevron is we're not formally under AML yet. That is it's still in progress, but we are supplying to them. And I think maybe John in the US, you have seen supplies from us to Chevron. I think currently there are also some projects that are going on there for us.
Absolutely. Yeah, we've had a
Yeah,
lot
right.
of success in the past year with Chevron in the US and around the globe. We really help with Chevron, Shell, Total, especially with the integrators, your Sunbelts, your MRCs that need to cover their contracts with them. So we supplied a lot to Chevron Angola, as well as Chevron in the US as well.
So definitely. When there is not an AML, we do have references with most of the end users we can share.
Okay. All right. So the next question's a kind of an interesting technical one here. The questioner asks they would like to know the minimum DN or bore of ball valves which you can in fact weld overlay the wetted parts. If who would like to take that?
Yeah, I think that should be for me.
Yeah.
So of course you need to have room for your torch. It depends a little bit on the valve design, but in general, I think you need to have about DN50 at least to do such a thing. And of course, it's also something that for very small sizes, you need to ask yourself if it's still a suitable solution to overlay, to do that kind of work instead of making it of a full alloy material. So let's say about DN50, that's about the size that we can do that.
Which is, for our American friends, 2 inches.
2 inch, yes.
Yes.
Thanks, Salman.
Yeah. Okay, the next question, a questioner was asking what is the minimum lead time to supply to India? I know we touched on lead time in the webinar, and maybe you can kind of confirm if there's any differences when you're talking about supply into that country.
I think you need to consider our ex-works delivery time, and basically after that it's a matter of air freight or sea freight to the point of designation. Yeah, I mean, air freight could be done in let's say a week, and yeah, sea freight usually takes about 5 to 6 weeks.
Yeah. I mean,
So
yeah, I mean, I'm wondering if the questioner has any particular kind of concern about through something like customs clearance or anything like that that's driving the question. But I mean, otherwise,
yeah, well,
exactly as you described.
I don't think I usually upfront we make sure all the paperwork is okay. If there are any export licenses applicable, then we are very early in the process already asking for these end user statements, for example, to make sure that everything runs smoothly through customs. So we do not have any hold situations on that side. So we have a lot of experience with exporting special alloys, for example, to countries like India. I mean, for example, Reliance in India uses a lot of our valves, and yeah, they also often have difficult materials to export, but we always manage that.
Yeah. Okay, the next question is another lead time question. We're getting quite a few of these. And the questioner asks is, does the lead time of 16 weeks, is that inclusive of witness testing? And as a follow-up, is 3.2 material certification 3.2, can that be provided for the items of the valve?
Yeah, so
Yeah, well,
the lead
yeah,
time is
sorry, go
what?
ahead, John. Sorry,
Yeah,
go
sorry.
ahead.
So the lead time is the X-Works lead time. So that includes sourcing, manufacturing, and witness testing. And MTRs are available for all valves that are purchased.
Yeah, and of course, lead time depends on valve size, valve material. You know, there are all kinds of factors, of course, possible which can shorten lead times or have an effect that it takes a little bit longer. But yeah, we can include all these kind of testing requirements or witness requirements in our offer that we do to our clients. So then it's clear that the delivery time that we offer on our quotation is the delivery time when the valve is ready for shipment. So that is including all witness or all testing.
Okay, so the next question is another lead time question, and it's asking about the lead time on cast valves. And the questioner is asking is whether if you were to select a European foundry as opposed to say the one foundry located in India or China, whether the lead time that you stated in the webinar for the cast valves, whether that could be reduced at all.
Yes, that could be. Yeah, we see some fluctuation from depending from the source. Yeah, that is definitely something that in some cases could be shorter. So we are pretty quick when the raw material is in-house. It's just a matter of getting it in time from the foundry. So yeah, sometimes foundries can be quick, and sometimes they are a bit longer. But let's say if they supply it in 20 weeks, yeah, then we can supply the valve definitely under 30 weeks.
Okay. All right, so that's good. Thankfully, we've run out of questions on lead time. Oh, actually,
I've seen one more question, Simon, about spares.
Oh yeah, sorry, you're right.
Somebody.
Let's circle back to that one. So there was a question asking whether Redpoint can provide spares for valves that presumably you've
Of course,
supplied in the
yeah.
past.
So we can confirm. So I think that's
Absolutely.
a short answer. You are of course also obligated as a manufacturer to supply spares for your valves and to provide service. So yes.
Yeah. Okay. Let's see. What do we have next? Oh, again, more questions. Okay, here's an interesting one. Do you have a presence in US nuclear? If you guys are okay, I'll maybe talk to that one. And if you've got any additional stuff, we can talk about it.
Sure.
So, Redpoint, the facility that we're talking about here in the Netherlands, does not have an end stamp. However, just to be clear, we do have facilities such as our facility in Ipswich, Massachusetts, that is end stamped, and depending on the project, we can provide end stamp valves for nuclear service. We are actively working in that arena. In fact, there is a collaboration between currently between Redpoint and our Ipswich facility to provide valves into nuclear SMR service. So we are at the forefront of that. What I would suggest is, if the questioner has, a particular project in mind, they can certainly, get in touch with us, email us after the webinar, and we can see if this is something that we can support for them. You guys got anything to add to that, or?
No, I was going to talk about the SMRs as well, so you nailed it.
Okay, yeah. Sorry, I stole your
right.
response. Yeah. Okay. Let's see. Next question is regarding the overall packaging of the valves, and the questioner is asking whether we can supply the complete automated solution, or I guess what they're alluding to or asking about is supply with an actuator, a positioner, etc.
Yes, we can supply with actuators. I've showed on the picture that we already supplied, or an example, you saw a valve with a Rotork electric actuator, but also quarter turn, rack pinion, Scotch yoke, diaphragm, pneumatic linear actuators. So those kind of things are all common to us to work with, although a lot of times our customers can do it themselves as well. So it depends a little bit on what the customer wants, but we have the experience to work with actuation.
Okay.
Yeah. And we generally don't have an actuator we prefer. We generally follow client spec. So whatever is requested.
Yeah. Okay. The next question coming up is regarding repair and services at site. Presumably, I'm not sure the question doesn't state whether this is repair and services for Redpoint valves specifically, or another vendor's valves that are, require some remediation or repair at site. Does either of you want to take that one?
Sure. I mean, we do have a depending on the factory, service individuals in the U.S. I'm not entirely sure about what our service footprint is in the rest of the world, but we have a handful of service people in the U.S. as well as a service center in Deer Park, Texas, that can handle any repairs.
Yeah, I think it's to some extent, just tagging on to that, it's location sensitive, but we do certainly support the repair and servicing of valves in some locations. For example, the Middle East as well. We have a facility to support there. Actually, more than one facility to support there. Okay, let's see what else we have. It's like so many questions I'm using here. Another question. Are your valves certified for low fugitive emissions? Who wants to take that one?
Yeah, I can answer that one. So that's a good question. I've touched it a little bit in the presentation that our valves are suitable for low fugitive emissions. That is, of course, a topic which is very important for valve manufacturers nowadays. You see it more and more in valve specifications. So yeah, we have a wide range of our valves is covered by, for example, ISO 15848-1, which is a type test standard for fugitive emissions. We have tested some of our valves to API 624. So yeah, there's definitely a lot going on within Redpoint with regards to fugitive emissions.
Okay. And then another question on materials, which I think is quite interesting. So as an expert in some of these exotic materials, you place, the question says you place a lot of emphasis in the webinar on the selection of materials. That's true. Have you had an opportunity to help end users choose the right type of material for their specific application?
Yeah, absolutely. That is something, because of our experience with all these difficult types of services. So yeah, we have seen a lot. We have engineered to those specifications. So we have quite a lot of knowledge that we share also with our customers, because yeah, we want to make sure the valve that we offer will be a durable solution. And yeah, that's very important. So if there's anything that we doubt in the specification, we will raise the question, but we're also happy to discuss and advise at certain issues that clients have, and share our experience and come to a solution together.
Yeah, and I'd also note that Trillium does have an in-house metallurgist that is available to support consultations when you have a specific question about the suitability of material, for and let's say a service where it's unclear exactly what materials should be utilized. So we can certainly support that way too. It just again people should reach out and start the dialogue. Let's see, we've probably got time for one more question, and it's another question on delivery time. And the question is delivery time for cast material the same for nickel alloys as it is for stainless carbon steel or duplex stainless steel?
In forged, it could be different because of the size of the material. So yeah, it depends a little bit on the size or on the forging that you use. And castings, it depends a little bit on the source where it needs to come from. So yeah, I cannot really say that. I cannot really give a concrete answer on that. It depends a little bit on certain factors, but of course, some materials are more readily available than others.
Okay, all right. I think we've kind of got to the end of the question.
I see still
There's
one question.
One quick one we can answer about Buy American Act.
Oh yeah, okay. Yes, you're right. Sorry. I apologize. I did miss that. I did not scroll down enough. So who wants to take that one? Buy America.
Yeah, I'll take that one. So the Buy American, there's some confusion on what the Buy American Act actually says and means. So because the valves are manufactured in the Netherlands and they get a lot of their sourcing from Italy and Spain, which are approved countries by the Buy American Act, we meet it verbatim. So there's no problem with that. Okay,
that was a quick and easy one. All right, well, if there are no other questions, it looks like it's finally stopped. All that's left to say is to thank everybody who participated in the webinar, you the listeners, for listening through this hour and giving us an hour of your time. Thanks to Jessica and to John for going into detail on the value proposition for Redpoint and what it can bring to the customers. And just to thank you again. Look out for more webinars from Trillium in 2024, and thank you for your attention.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks, everybody.